So we start off with Jura saying, "It's time," as he leans back hitting some pregame sit-ups, then comes popping out of a claw ground. Before him and Hidori go walking into the village, and they moving with some swagger too. You know what kind of demon you gotta be to pull up on the leaf like this? Especially after what happened to the last person that did it. This is not somewhere you should want to pull up on. But regardless, of course some NPCs pull up trying to look tough. Bro got absolutely no reason to be posted up here like this. Just for us to see Jura and Hidori still with their hands in their pockets, and the NPCs just stuck up here like some scarecrows, not even having the respect to get an on-panel fight. That's why sometimes as a background character, you just gotta stay in the background. But during their little stroll through the leaf, we see Kawaki pull up, smacking Hidori with a kick just for Jura to walk up, then devouring Kawaki in wood style. As Jura pops up in front of him, making Kawaki straight down as the wood gets shattered, before popping up behind Jura, getting his arm smashed, then rocked with the right and smacked with the kick, sending him flying into the same water tank that made Sasuke realize the show was called Naruto. But that's when Jura notices that he's found Naruto, saying that he senses the Nine-Tails chakra. But then he comes down, and instead of Naruto, he's face to face with Himawari, who he wastes no time trying to trap in wood like he Karl Malone, that goes and completely engulfs her, making Shikadai use his shadow paralysis to slow it down, as Inojin makes his freaky iguana that goes licking her out of there, letting Chocho come in for the save. And this leads to Jura telling him that the Nine-Tails chakra was detected in Himawari, and he'll get at least one answer by devouring her, which is kinda. But luckily, Inojin wasn't letting his ball get done like that, as him and Hima go jumping into the air on a bird, getting the high ground, while Jura gets tied up, caught lacking by none other than Shikadai. Bro really is the Hokage's son, and it's obvious too, unlike that bum awesome. But of course, nonchalant man Jura isn't phased in the slightest, just decided to load up a tailed beast bomb with his eye, instantly making Shikadai regret every decision he's made. Before we see Chocho pull up, smacking bro as he fires it off, making it proceed to blow up a fat part of the map in a tough panel, leaving Himawari looking at the smoke in pure disbelief, until Inojin goes scooping both Shikadai and Chocho and dipping up out of there, as they all decide to just leave the village, like they stand a chance either way. Before Hima asks if they could just drop her off somewhere so she can run the ones, showing that having that dog in you can be genetic too. But as she's explaining, we suddenly see her here in the mindscape, and with something familiar sitting right behind her, as she turns around to see the Nine-Tails. And even as a baby, bro is looking like a demon. But since she's in here, Shikacho out here stressing, thinking she got knocked out or something, or got some kind of CTE. Before they look back to see Jura speeding towards them, making Shikadai immediately call for backup. But while they out here panicking, Kurama and Hima just having a nice and peaceful convo while he drops some lore, before eventually both locking in as she wakes up just to look back and Jura on their ass, making her instantly call for Kurama's help, literally 16 seconds after she found out she had bro. Sis got no shame. But that's when Jura blinks, then starts up another tail beast bomb, blasting it right through the bird's wing, making them go beaming down. But luckily, Chocho can turn into Dave Blunt's at will, letting them all grab on and go bouncing across the ground. But as soon as they start celebrating, down comes Jura, making Hima again start calling for Kurama, making him take the words right out of my mouth, telling her to stop being such a spoiled baby, like she ain't got no home training. The same girl who one-shot the strongest to ever live, begging for help over a vampire looking dude with a slick back Oppenheimer cut. You better than this, man. But this leads to Kurama giving her a lecture saying using his powers depends solely on her, and saying that she even has a higher affinity to his chakra than anybody else who's ever had him. And I don't know if technically that means Hagoromo too, because he did have the 10 tails and the other Biju inside him like individually, but if so, that's crazy. And I really do hope Ikimoto and Kishimoto flesh it out, because I don't know about y'all, but a KCM3 would be crazy. We might as well go full Dragon Ball Super with the transformations, I'ma be honest. But then he tells her that all she needs to do is believe. Like this is some kind of Disney show. This girl done seen Naruto get put in the hospital plenty of times with Kurama inside of him. That is not gonna be enough to truly convince her that all she need to do is believe, buddy. But it does make her go rushing in, charging up, and getting her kid caught. At least she went for the face though. I can respect it. But Jura being the menace he is, it's just like, well, you don't need this no more, and breaks that shit in about 3 places. Got it facing backwards like she just got hit with a Kyrie special, leaving her on the ground looking crazy, not knowing if she want to go forwards or backwards, making Energy decide to sit whenever this is in that gets obliterated with wood style, before we even see some spawning around Hima once again trying to trap her inside. But Enogen couldn't sit back in the cook chair and watch this happen, so he rushes in just to eat a knee to the gut, putting him down on all 4s, before out of pure desperation, he reaches out touching the disgusting foot of this creature and telling him to let go of her, before he gets violated and given the donut treatment right in front of Hima, leaving bro just hanging up here with Shikadai and Chocho unable to believe it, as Hima even sheds a tear until something goes busting out of the wood, making everybody look over to see this Kushina variant that happens to be Himawari, reminding Jura that she said stop. Ugh! That's what I'm talking about. And even Kurama feeling it, knowing he finally get a chance to let loose again, as we see Kurama mold Himawari. Yes sir! That girl is locked, as she hops down, showing off that new and improved leg looking like your age every 6 months. At this point, bro just need Tony Stark, but then she walks over to Enogen, using her hair to tie him up and grab him, before just laying him on the ground, completely healed on the outside, barely even a scratch on him. But she knows he's still cooked, telling him to take him to a hospital, as she says she's about to take Jura down, who's over here still flexing his eyelashes looking like Angel Reese, with Hima just standing there glaring at him as Ino Shikacho go running away, before she starts to walk him down and pulling up face to face with this monster, who is still just yapping, not being able to understand why exactly she locked in like this. But my goat is not hearing that shit, rocking him in the gut with the lift, which even knocked bro's hand out his pocket, which is how you know he felt it, even shattering the ground beneath him, before she cocks back again, booming his ass, sending him flying back, smashing through the whole map, tearing this desert up, leaving Hima just standing there looking like a dog, till Jura just darts into the air, then loads up and launches in, coming straight towards her, as her hair starts forming into some dead spider shape, before we see a tailed beast bomb loading in. Like, hold on. First of all, this panel is absolutely beautiful, and second, this panel is absolutely beautiful, but third, she got tailed beast bombs already? This is already like at least a KCM 2 level feat off rip. Knowing how to do this with literally no training is crazy. Like, she literally has no XP at all and just whipped it out. But this makes Jura stop in his tracks and start loading in his own Bijou bomb, as she blasts hers off and Jura matches, making them go flying in and booming into each other, leaving her and him just staring at each other, before he comes flying down and landing, all while being impressed at the same time. But she is not moved, looking tough, until she notices that Jura's blitzing at her, smacking her with the headbutt and sending her sliding back, as Jura pops in over her, obliterating this girl with a kick, putting her face first in the hard ass ground, giving her a face to face with Minato, as he gives her the ultimate compliment that she's made him want to test his true power. And we see Hima down here looking cooked, fighting for her life, till Jura smacks her with the backhand like he been reading books about Chris Brown, got her cheek flat as hell like 2024 Ice Spice, before he starts loading up, instantly blasting her side, tearing up her shirt and put her on the ground in pain, and yet we never even see a scratch, making Jura start glazing her healing power, sounding like Madara with Hashirama, even though she down here struggling, which leads to even Kurama saying they don't got a chance. Damn. And that's with Jura not even breaking a sweat. So it really does seem like all hope is lost, until we get a bird's eye view, and then Boruto flies in, scooping up Hima and dipping up out of there, saving his sister. But job's not finished,